Periscope, what's up? Greg Howes, it is Thursday morning. High Energy Thursday. Let's go. Let's go, let's go. Thank you for the hearts. Every time you tap the screen, you release a heart. Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting friends and followers on. Good morning. Yeah, high energy. Let's go. Get the coffee going. Get the breakfast going. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Good morning, good morning. Springfield, Illinois. Good morning. Gloria M's. Not sure what that is, but good morning. Good morning. Where's all my cities this morning? I don't see the city lineup this morning. Where are you? There we go. Jackson, Mississippi. Good morning. Gloria. Okay. Chicago. Exeter, California. Good morning. Good morning. Difficult to hear me? I'm sorry. We'll turn the music down. How about that? Connecticut. Good morning. Yukon is here. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Atlanta. Good morning. Good morning. God bless you guys. This is Leaderscope. I'm Greg Howes, Northwest Indiana. Good morning. Good to have you on with me this morning. We'll spend a few minutes together to start the day. Again, this morning I'm in Fresno, California. I'm here doing a master's degree class in Fresno, and we're actually studying city transformation in Fresno, California. This is a city of 500,000 people in central California that is going through what the mayor called the other day a 40-year period of transformation. And according to her, Fresno is now at the 20-year point, so about halfway through a 40-year season of transformation. And so it's been really, really enlightening to see what's going on here in Fresno. And hopefully I'm learning some lessons that I can bring back home to where we are in Chicago. So we're looking forward to that. But good morning. I'm glad you're on with me today. And here I am in Fresno, California. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this city and some things that I've been picking up this week. And hopefully it will be beneficial to you in the context where you are. Just to review quickly, I was talking to you about Christ-centered civic transformation. Christ-centered civic transformation. And that's simply where we see that the city is the object. The city is the object of transformation. So how are we seeing the city? When you look at your city, are you seeing the desperation? Are you seeing the pain of your city? Or perhaps you are seeing your city as a gift from God. The city is not a curse. The city is a gift from God. Do you see your city through that lens of being a gift from God? Or you may be seeing your city as a common good community where everybody and everything in the city is working together, functioning together for the common good. And so that would mean that you may have a Christian contractor working on a project, but you may have a Muslim hotel owner, or you may have a Buddhist gas station owner. You may have an older person building a wall in somebody's yard, or you may have a younger person who is working at a McDonald's. Whatever the case may be, everyone, no matter what their background, no matter where they come from, no matter what label you put on them, they are working for the common good of the community. The common good of the community. So I think that's important. So the city is the object, but then peace, shalom, is the goal. So we want to use a holistic approach in bringing peace into the city. Shalom, the shalom of God, not just in the spiritual realm where we are at peace with God, but also in the natural realm where we bring peace into our communities. We bring peace into different situations that we're involved with, and we bring peace into our relationships where we reconcile anything that's broken, we forgive one another, and we move into a place of shalom, into a place of peace. So peace or shalom is the goal of what we're doing in the city. And then finally, we see that Christ is the center. Christ is the center of everything going on, everything that we're doing in the city. So everything else revolves around Jesus Christ. He is the center of all the things that we are doing. So as we're looking at the city, we're going to expose ourselves to the key issues, to the desperation, to the pain that we see in the city. We're going to exchange data. We're going to exchange knowledge. We're going to exchange information with one another about those key issues, because I may know something that you don't know, and you may know something that I don't know. So we're going to exchange information, and then we're going to embrace. We're going to embrace one another, and we're also going to embrace the solutions so that we can release the solutions into the life of the city. So it's all about feeling the desperation in the city. Do you feel the desperation? Those of you in the Chicago area, do you feel the desperation in Chicago? And the desperation is you simply looking at a situation and you come to the conclusion that this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. So in Chicago, for example, we may look at whatever it is now, 1,000 people being shot, whatever the figure, I don't have the number right in front of me, but let's just say it's 1,000 people. 1,000 people being injured or killed by gunfire this year. You would look at that and your conclusion would be, this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. And so once you come to that place where you realize it is unacceptable, then you're going to be moved to do something about it. Weeping is a part of this. Did you know that weeping over a city is biblical? When Nehemiah heard the news about Jerusalem and the temple being burned down and the walls being in disrepair and the gates being torn down, Nehemiah, first of all, prayed. He went to God and prayed, but the second thing he did was he wept. Nehemiah wept over the city of Jerusalem. He wept over the news that he had received. And then the third thing he did was go to the king to get the king's permission to travel to Jerusalem to bring about a solution. So Nehemiah prayed, Nehemiah wept over the city, and then he went to the person in authority to release him to go to Jerusalem to offer a solution. Remember when Jesus wept over the city of Jerusalem? Jesus wept over the city. Yes, he did. It was at the time of his triumphal entry into the city, where people were praising him, people were lifting him up. He was at the high point of his power, the high point of his popularity, and yet he wept over the city. He wept over the city. And so as we looked at that this week, our teacher, our professor made I thought, a profound statement. It was a person that was presenting at the particular time. They said, what we do with power indicates the condition of our character. What we do with our power indicates the condition of our character. So Jesus, at the high point of his popularity and power, he used his power to weep over a city. To weep over a city. So as you are moved with desperation and you come to the point of saying, this is unacceptable, will that move you to weeping over your city? Will you be moved with compassion over your city? So just something to consider. The other day, our teacher asked us, what is better, a jumbo jet or a bicycle? What do you think? What is better, a jumbo jet or a bicycle? What would you say? Come on, type in something. What would you say? What is better, a jumbo jet or a bicycle? All right, somebody said a bicycle. Why do you say a bicycle? What is better, a jumbo jet or a bicycle? Write in an answer. A bicycle, you're saying, because it gets you closer to people. Someone said a jet because you can move in global projects. Good, good. People are saying jet. Okay. Okay, well here's a solution, a jet to get around better. Okay. I don't know if you could get around the streets of Fresno in a jet. A bike for exercise. Okay. Someone said it depends on the better. Okay, that's good. Now that's getting to the point that I want to make. A bike for local relations, yes. It depends on where you are, and it depends on where you are going. Right? Doesn't that make sense? What is better, a jumbo jet or a bicycle? It depends on where you are, and it depends on where you're going. So context often determines how our theology plays out in a situation. Our traditional way of doing something may not be the only way of doing something. So you have to learn how to give yourself to observation. You look at what's going on around. You watch the people. You watch situations. You watch the culture. You watch how people respond. You watch for the issues, the problems. You watch for what is broken. You watch for what is causing pain. Context determines how our theology plays out in any given situation. So once you give yourself to observation, then you begin to identify the tools or the instruments that are working well in that context. So if you are in an African American context, there will be certain instruments or tools that are working well. If you're in a Hispanic context, there will be certain tools that are working well. So you have to make observation, and then you identify the tools that are working well in that context. And then you go to work to bring about some kind of change. So context is always the dilemma. The context of the situation is always a dilemma. So you have to look at how are you going to manifest truth in your context. If you're in a high-end, kind of ritzy, wealthy suburban area, how are you going to manifest present truth in that context? If you are in more of an inner city situation where maybe there's a lot of poverty or maybe there's gang activity, how are you going to manifest present truth in that context? So context becomes the dilemma. And this, in this situation and making these kind of decisions of how you're going to manifest present truth in that context, this is where leadership rises up. This is where leadership rises up in deciding how you're going to respond in the context. We've been studying something else in this class that I think is powerful, and it is called appreciative inquiry. Appreciative inquiry. And this is where you look at your situation and you look at your life, you look at the context, and you determine what you have to work with and what you don't have to work with. But appreciative inquiry means that you're going to focus on what you have rather than what you do not have. You're going to focus on what you have rather than what you do not have. Isn't that powerful? It gives you a positive outlook on the situation. For example, in Acts chapter 3, when Peter and John are dealing with the crippled man at the temple gate. You remember what they said to the crippled man? This is Acts 3 and verse 6. Silver and gold have I none. That's what I don't have. But such as I have, I give unto you. You can only give what you have. So we find that often we're looking at a situation, we're looking at our context, we're in desperation, we see the pain, we want to change something, we want to make a difference. You want to do what's never been done before. You want to do what no one else has been willing to do, but you're always focusing on what you don't have. I don't have a team. I don't have enough people involved with me. I don't have money. I don't have finances. I don't have an office. I don't have a headquarters. I don't have a community center. I don't have a grant. I don't have grant money. I don't have my family on board with me. My husband or my wife is not in agreement with me. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have this. I don't have that. And do you find that that's true? So often we're focusing on what we do not have. But appreciative inquiry says, look around at what you do have and focus on what you do have rather than what you do not have. Jesus could have looked around and said, I don't have anything to work with. But instead, he took 12 ordinary men, right? He took 12 ordinary men and he poured into their lives and he equipped them. And those 12 ordinary men are still affecting what we do today, 2,000 years later. That's pretty awesome. Jesus was living in a small, what would have been considered an insignificant land that was always being run over, conquered by foreign powers. He could have looked at that and said, man, what kind of place is this? There's nothing good in this place. There's nothing profitable in this place. But instead of looking at it that way, he looked at what he did have. This is Israel. This is the city of Jerusalem. This is the Galilean region. And he took advantage of his position in those areas. He took advantage of the villages and the city of Jerusalem and all of the territory in between as he traveled with his disciples. He looked at what he did have to work with, and he began to work it for his advantage and for the advantage of the kingdom of God. It's really powerful. So that's called appreciative inquiry. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to stop looking around, giving all of our attention to what we do not have, and we're going to start focusing on what we do have. What do you have to work with as you look at starting that new business? What do you have to work with as you look at planting that new church? Appreciative inquiry. That may come about by having some conversations with other people. This was an interesting question that was posed to us this week. How many sermons are in the Bible? How many sermons do you know of in the Bible? Can you name them? How many sermons do you know of in the Bible? You know, so you might say, well, there was a Sermon on the Mount. That's probably the most famous one. The Sermon on the Mount. Do you know of any other sermons? Perhaps Peter's sermon on the day of Pentecost in Acts chapter 2. That's another sermon in the Bible. You may go to Ezra and you find Ezra reading the scripture, reading the scroll of the Old Testament in front of the people. You may call that a sermon. So when you look at sermons in the Bible, there really aren't that many of them. But then ask this question. How many conversations are in the Bible? How many conversations are in the Bible? Well, then you'd be hard-pressed to count them, wouldn't you? Because there's so many more conversations than there are sermons. Just something to think about. Because in our churches, what do we put all the attention on? I'm talking to myself too. We put our attention on the sermon, right? Everything's about the sermon. But maybe the Bible puts more attention on our conversations and what we're going to pick up out of our conversations, what is going to become valuable to us through our conversations. Isn't that something? I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I think that's really powerful. That's really powerful. Well, I think that's enough for today. I appreciate you being on with me. Thank you so much. I'm grateful for you. I love you. Thank you so much for being on. Thanks for the hearts. Thanks for inviting friends and followers to come on. Really, really appreciate it. I do hope you have a great day today. Think about your city. Think about the context that you live in. Start thinking in those terms. Evaluate your context. Evaluate the people that are around you. What does that look like? How does that affect you? Does it make you weep? Do you sense the desperation? Do you sense the pain? Take a look at it seriously today. I think it will really, really enlighten you. Have a great day today. Doors are opening in front of you. Opportunities are presenting themselves. Divine connections are coming into your life. Resources are coming. Money is coming into your hands today. Come on, I want you to believe it. It's happening today in Jesus' name. Absolutely. Absolutely it is. You have favor with God and man, so go for it. Do something that's never been done before. Do something that other people are afraid to do. Launch out with that creative idea. Start making a plan. Start talking to some other people. Get it moving and let the momentum build. God has something good in store for you. Listen, have a wonderful day today. I'm going to talk to you soon. Be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. God bless you.